Meeting of the Wendell Town Board of Commissioners, and welcome all of you. We have a lot of folks here tonight. We're happy to have all of you here with us. We're going to be led in the Pledge of Allegiance tonight by East Wake High School student Angelo Caldero. Angelo is a dedicated and high-achieving student at East Wake Magnet High School, currently in his sophomore year. Known for his strong work ethic, leadership qualities, and community involvement, Angelo has consistently demonstrated a commitment in both academic excellence and civic engagement. In school, he excels in career and technical education courses and participates actively in FFA, serving as the FFA treasurer for the 2024 to 2025 school year, and as secretary-elect for the 2025-2026 school year. Beyond the classroom, Angelo is involved in community service, volunteer work, and is a junior fireman at the Hopkins Volunteer Fire Department, showing a strong sense of responsibility and care for his community. He has earned recognition for FFA, earning his Green Hand degree, and many career development event awards, and is widely respected by peers and teachers alike for his character, initiative, and drive to make a positive impact. We are proud to present Angelo to the Town of Wendell Board of Commissioners as a representative of exceptional young individuals who are helping shaping the future of our community. It was such a pleasure to meet and talk with you tonight before the meeting.
Thank you.
Such a fine young man. Okay? All right, go.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I look forward to all the things I'm sure you're going to accomplish. Our invocation tonight from the Wendell Council of Churches is from Ed Keegan from St. Eugene's Catholic Church. Good evening.
Good evening, Madam
How are
Mayor.
you?
Weather Commissioner, I'm doing well. Thank you. One thing since yesterday was Memorial Day, I'll ask your indulgence. I'm going to say two prayers.
That's perfectly fine. You have the floor.
Gracious Lord, on this Memorial Day, we pray for those who courageously laid down their lives for the cause of freedom. May the examples of their sacrifice inspire in us the selfless love of your Son. Bless the families of our fallen troops and fill their homes and their lives with your strength and peace. In union with people of goodwill of every nation, embolden us to answer the call to work for peace and justice, and thus seek an end to violence and conflict around the globe. We ask this through your name. Amen.
Amen.
Lord, grant that we may always allow ourselves to be guided by you. Please allow your plans and perfectly accomplish your holy will. Grant that in all things, great and small, today and all days of our lives, we may do whatever you require of us. Help us respond to the slightest promptings of your grace so that we may be your trustworthy instruments for your honor. May your will be done. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you for being with us tonight.
You're very welcome.
Are there any adjustments to the agenda? Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Move we approve the agenda.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, public comment period. The public can participate in public comment in the two ways. You can sign up at the door for public comment when you get here, and you have 3 minutes to speak. And you can submit written statements via email to the town clerk by the Friday prior to our town board meeting, which is usually on Monday, but today is on Tuesday. Include your full name and address, and written public comments will be read into the record on your behalf for the length of 3 minutes. Tonight, we have 3 people signed up. The first is Roger Peterson. Good evening.
Good evening. Madam Mayor, Commissioners, my name is Roger Peterson. I live at 4490 Wendell Boulevard here in Wendell. I also serve as Executive Director of the Wendell Chamber of Commerce, and I come to you tonight in that role to speak to item 6 Bravo on your agenda, the downtown improvement grant for the Abella Butcher store. You know, it's an honor to work with and support the 283 members of our Chamber of Commerce and their thousands of employees. And tonight, I'm really speaking to one of those members. One of the owners is here tonight, Chris Goss, his wife Lauren, I suspect is with the kids, right? They joined the chamber already. They have stepped up. They are going to, like I said, create a butcher shop. It sounds like it's going to be a neat addition. We've talked with several of the neighbors, and I'll tell you, the business community is very excited about having them join the offerings that make downtown Wendell so unique and so special. I'll share with you a little comment from their website. They said they, quote, built this shop not just for our community, but for our daughters as a way to build a more grounded and joyful life together. I know that if you're ever wondering where they'll be, I'm sure at least one of them will be in the store, if not two. And I would encourage you to support their request for a downtown improvement grant once you get to item 6B on your agenda. Thank you.
Thank you. The next is Emerson Kate Joyner.
Hi, my name is Emerson Kate Joyner. I live at 3851 Wendell Boulevard, and I go to school at Wendell Elementary. I'm here tonight to speak during a public comment part of the meeting on behalf of my dad, Jason Joyner, who had to be out of town unexpectedly. My dad is Mayor Pro Tem of Wendell, and he wanted to be here tonight to talk about the town budget, but since he couldn't, I'm here to help. He asked me to tell you that he's really proud of the work that went into this year's budget. It's the biggest one Wendell has ever done, and it includes so many things that matter to families like mine, like parks, greenways, sidewalks, safe roads, and making sure the people who work for our town are treated fairly. He also wanted to say thank you to the town manager and all the staff who helped put this together. He supports the investments this budget makes, especially the ones that make our town more connected, safe, and fun for kids and families. Even though my dad is grown up and works with government stuff, he always reminds me that budgets are really just about what we care about and how we take care of each other. Thank you for letting me speak for him tonight, and thank you for everything you do for our town.
Emerson. And we have one more, and I believe it is Randall, and the last name starts with an O, and I apologize, I can't read your hand. Ronaldo, say your last name again?
Oliveria.
Oliveria.
Good afternoon, y'all. How
Good
y'all
evening.
doing? I hope y'all enjoyed your Memorial Day, and thank God for the service of those that went in and did stuff for us. I had written something out, but I didn't know you had to submit it by 5 o'clock p.m.
You don't have to if you read it. If you're going to read it, you can
Yeah,
read.
I'm gonna read
Okay.
it. So, here's the thing: is that you know, residents encounter things, various situations while we live here, and sometimes we have to use the 911 system, you know, to call law enforcement to go ahead and help out. We have in our neighborhood, Copplestone, we have persons who are using emergency generators to power their house. For some reason, they couldn't afford, you know, the Duke Energy prices. So they're using an emergency generator. So I had called, because the generator runs all night long, I had called Wendell PD non-emergency number. I said, do you know about this scenario? They said, yes, we know. We've got a lot of phone calls about the generator running all night long, and we know of the situation. One of my questions is this, or rather common is this, is that I would hope that when residents run into problems that are like repeated running of a generator all night long, and noise violations of a noise ordinance or whatever you want to call it, that perhaps there would be at some point in time when law enforcement would say, well, let's just help the residents out. Let's not tie up the 911 system with calls. Let's go ahead and refer it over to the DA's office and see maybe if we get an order or something to go ahead and resolve the matter, since it's a repeat problem. So the public comment is here is just asking that if somehow the board may counsel law enforcement or whatever you have to do to sort of address, it's an issue we've been having at Cobblestone, but if you have issues like that, just to relieve our 911 system, maybe that y'all look at repeat things just to go ahead and say, hey, look, maybe we could just take this out of emergency status and do DA work and get a court order or whatever. So that was basically my comment, is just, is there a way for the board to counsel the PD to say, hey, look, we know, we're aware of your problem. We'll go ahead and just help you out by taking other course of action. That was it. I mean, I'm not
Okay.
here to cause a ruckus or anything like that, just to address. There was supposed to be a big group coming tonight, but apparently the weather got to people's knees and legs, and so they couldn't come out. So
I understand.
I decided to come out, so. Well, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hope you all have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. And wasn't there supposed to be a car work machine outside with donuts and stuff?
No, sorry. Yeah, no, I'm not, we don't call on people with their hand up.
I didn't see the sign up, but I wanted to make a comment on the same subject that he was doing here.
Okay, come on. That's fine. Tell me your,
My name is Keith Davis.
Keith Davis?
Yes, ma'am. I'm from 612 Gaslight Trail. I'm a subdivision, I'm a street right behind the resident that own the property. There's a running concern about it being a noise ordinance in it. We have the owner of the property here, and we really want to know what some steps that we can take to help evict the person out of the property, because we have he has the lease and stuff, and he went to court to try to get him evicted and things of that nature, and now he's trying to do a quick sale on it. In the process of getting this tenant to where he's has a certain amount of days, he's trying to do that also. But the thing that concerns us the most is he's ignoring the ordinances of having the generator off at 9 o'clock. He's been fined, he's been warned, and the people that stand around him, as of myself, hear that generator, and I mean, the Wendell cops are doing the very best there. I mean, throw your hands up to Wendell police officers, because they're very courteous. They're letting him speak his mind, doing everything that he has to do, and he's turning the generator off, but he's not turning it off at the time that they, gave him as a priority to do it. And some of the operations that he's doing, he's altering stuff in the house, he's doing all these things like that of this nature, which I know the owner of it, his name is Robert Sweet, he's here today to try to find out if there's anything that Wendell can do to help in the process of getting this guy evicted. He's a squatter, he's done this thing before, and it's like, we don't want him to be able to have all these extra opportunities, because he's had these opportunities at other places also, and we're just trying to make the community a better place, because I love my house. I love the area that I live in, and we've never had this, this type of person in our neighborhood to interrupt the inner peace, because we know everybody. And he's an outsider, and he's really making a lot of havoc in the neighborhood. So if there's anything that y'all can suggest to Robert or to us as a community to do what we need to do to come together to try to get him out of there. or get him to a different location, because he definitely has some things going on that shouldn't be going on inside of the neighborhood like he's got it. I mean, he has big dogs that's living in the house, and he's tearing up the house, and, I mean, they barking, and they do, I mean, anything that you can name from a homeowner, being beside him is not something that you would be happy to have. So, that's my little spiel on it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I will say that the town of Wendell can't intervene. This is like a landlord-tenant issue, and we
Right,
can't
right.
intervene on that, but, I don't know, now you've made us aware as far as the police part of it, and.
Yeah.
Yeah, the town managers, yes.
So I can give y'all a brief update on that. Actually, our planning director, Brian Coates, has been handling a lot of this because it gets into building code
Building
issues
codes, that's
with
what I
the
was thinking.
electricity.
Yeah.
So Wake County Inspections has been doing work to see if it's properly hooked up to power and can pursue it in that standpoint. The Wendell Police Department has a nightly check at 9 PM to go by the property and make sure that they're shutting down the generator in accordance with the noise ordinance, as long as there's an officer available at that time to do so. So if an officer shows up, he's available to show up and do that. Check
They
to help
have
with
been
the
doing
neighborhood.
it. It's not that they haven't.
We have a legal process to go through, just like the property owner. We cannot interject into a tenant-landlord issue. That's a civil matter between those two and their agreement. And so he needs to get legal assistance to do that on his part.
Amen.
That's not a town issue.
Okay.
But we are taking what we can do from a noise ordinance as well as a minimum housing standard, building code standpoint.
Okay.
And we'll continue to do that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Move approval of the consent agenda.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we'll move into section 4, recognitions, reports, and presentations. Item 4A is the recognition of Eastwake High School teacher Ashley Guo, and she is not able to be with us tonight, unfortunately, but I'm still wanting to read to you the things that were sent to me about her. Ms. Guo is an exemplary educator at Eastwake Magnet High School, known for her dedication, leadership, and impact on the school community. She primarily teaches biology with a course with a state-mandated end-of-course exam, as well as AP Environmental Science, often serving students first exposure to advanced placement coursework. She maintains high academic expectations while presenting material in an engaging and accessible manner, helping students build both confidence and competence. In addition to her teaching responsibilities, Ms. Guo holds several key leadership roles. She serves as the lead for the biology professional learning community, the process champion for the Capturing Kids' Hearts initiative, the co-department chair for the science department, and faculty advisor for the junior class student council. Her commitment extends beyond the classroom as she takes the lead in planning major school events, including the junior-senior prom, pep rallies, and year-round cultural activities, most notably a cultural exchange presentation in collaboration with foreign exchange students. This academic year, she also mentored 2 beginning teachers and hosted a student teacher from NC State, reflecting her dedication to supporting the next generation of educators. She constantly recognizes the achievements of others, nominating both students and colleagues for Student of the Year and Student and Teacher of the Week. Known for her active listening, welcoming demeanor, and thoughtful communication, she fosters a positive and inclusive environment for all. Her attention to detail, reliability, and collective spirit makes her a highly effective leader and a valued member of our school community. Her kindness, calming presence, and even her talent as a baker contribute to the warmth she brings to Eastwake High School. We are fortunate to have such an outstanding educator on our faculty. So I think it's important to recognize her even if she was called away in an emergency. So, all right, item 4B is the Wake County Transit presentation on the Wake County Transit Plan 2035 investment strategy. Mr. Coates.
Yep. Good evening, Mayor and board members. Excited to have Campo staff here tonight. I'm going to introduce Ben Howell, who is the planner that works on Wake Transit. They have a PowerPoint presentation they'd like to give you on the updated transit plan. I'm going to turn it over to Ben Howell, and then he can field any questions you have as well.
Good evening. Thank you for being with us tonight.
Good evening. So, all right. So as Brian mentioned, my name is Ben Howe. I'm the Wake Transit Program Manager for Campo, and Campo is one of 3 lead agencies for the Wake Transit Plan effort, or for the Wake Transit Program, along with Go Triangle and Wake County. So we have been working on our update of our 10-year Wake Transit Plan, or our vision plan, over the last year and a half or so. And so I'm here tonight to really give you an overview of where we've come, what we've done so far, and where we've just released our draft 10-year investment strategy showing how we expect to spend our Wake Transit Plan revenues over the next 10 years, and then I'll finish up with some next steps. So for those who may not be fully aware, the Wake Transit Plan was adopted originally back in 2016, and the sales taxes were also approved that year. And those taxes we began collecting those taxes in April 2017 and began putting new services on the road in August of 2017. The plan is organized around 4 big moves and continues to be so. One is connect regionally. The second is connect all Wake County communities. Third is create frequent, reliable urban mobility. And the last is enhance access to transit. The transit plan itself is updated roughly every 4 years, generally in concert with the Metropolitan Transportation Plan, which is the region's long-term multimodal transportation plan. The transit plan establishes priorities and investment direction for a 10-year period and is built on community and stakeholder input. The transit plan, like I mentioned, the original transit plan was adopted in 2016 and ran for roughly 10 years through 2027. We reached approximately 17,000 members of the public during that initial development of the plan, and that plan was built again around the 4 big moves with strategies and recommendations under those, including development of a commuter rail line, development of 4 bus rapid transit corridors, development of the community funding area program, building connections from suburbs to Raleigh and Cary, adding hours and more days of bus service, and adding more frequent and more regional bus service. The first update that was done to the plan was in 2021, started in 2020 right before the pandemic. And even with that, with the pandemic being in the middle there, we still reached approximately 12,000 folks, members of the public, and we updated our strategies and recommendations of that plan, primarily looking at updating cost assumptions and adding just a couple of new projects to the plan. So with that update, we again continued to advance commuter rail, understanding there were higher costs and potentially lower federal participation. We continued to advance bus rapid transit, and we added 2 expansions to that to bus rapid transit system, one from Cary out to RTP and one from Garner down towards Clayton. We also looked at extending commuter rail down towards Clayton, and we worked on continuing our investment in the connections between suburbs and Raleigh-Cary, between the investment in service spans and frequency, and continue the investment in the community funding area program. So as we begin working on this plan update, the second plan update, we want folks to realize, and we realize, that the Wake Transit Plan is ambitious and has taken on a number of large capital projects at the same time. So part of the planning effort has been understanding the trade-offs between the investments and understanding where the community wants to go. So finally, in this section, I do want to point to these 2 composite demand maps, which we consider our transit demand maps that help guide us in our planning effort. On the left is a 2020 demand map, and on the right is a 2040 demand map. And the darker the red you see, the higher the demand is. So as you can see, by 2040, we do expect to have some corridors with very high demand for transit, and that's where we've also been focusing a lot of our bus rapid transit development. So finally, just wanted to remind the public that the transit plan revenues have been consistently strong. Through 2023, we raised approximately $750 million, and we expect to raise another $700 million to $1 billion over the next 10 years. So we've been asking the public over the last year or so, what are the transit priorities for the next 10 years? So as we begin developing our new investment strategy, We've gone out to the public now 3 times. We're currently in our 3rd phase of public engagement right now. The first phase was last spring and focused on trade-offs, choices, trade-offs, and priorities, using an online survey to allow folks to build their own transit system with a limited budget to see how they had to make these choices and trade-offs themselves. The second phase, which occurred this past winter, really focused on 3 questions. 1, commuter rail, confirming that we're postponing the commuter rail project and instead looking at investing in regional rail. And when we say that, we are talking about the existing rail services that are already out there in the planned rail service along the S line. Second question, we went out and asked the public if they agreed with using a bus rapid transit on the I-40 corridor to serve that Raleigh to Durham regional commuting need. And then finally, we went out and asked the public about whether we should focus on serving more people or serving more places first. Not a either or, but which one should we focus on first? So the phase 1 survey, which was again done last spring, we heard that regional connections are important regardless of mode and that commuter rail was still important. When we looked at those results and broke them out by transit riders versus non-transit riders, transit riders wanted better bus service and more frequency, longer hours, were less interested in commuter rail, but also cared about regional service. While non-transit riders cared about the regional service, cared about the connections to Raleigh carrying RTP, and also cared about more infrastructure such as sidewalks connecting bus stops. So for that phase 2, which again, we just finished up in January, we had our online survey with our 3 questions. We held 24 pop-up events and 5 partner presentations throughout the county. We worked with, we put out advertisements on social media. We worked with K-Pasa Media to reach the Hispanic population. We worked using the rider apps to push messages out to transit riders, and we held 4 focus groups and then finished up with a stakeholder meeting in March where we talked to stakeholders throughout the county to get their input as well. So going over some of the feedback we received during this second phase of engagement, 76% of the public who responded to the online survey agreed with the idea of focusing our investment on regional rail versus a commuter rail system. They were generally excited to learn about the S-Line, had some questions about how that investment would occur. We're still working through that, but we were happy to see that there was general agreement that that was a good approach. The next question around using bus rapid transit to serve that I-40 corridor between Raleigh and Durham, 70% of the public agreed with that. There was some questions about, and some questions about exactly what bus rapid transit is, what it would look like, and some concern that it wouldn't solve the problem. So we need to get out there and do some more education and provide more information as we begin working on this project. But at the end of the day, we had 70% of the public agree with the approach. And then finally, we had a nearly 50-50 split on whether to focus on serving more people or serving more places first. We looked at all the results. 52% of the respondents wanted us to focus our investments on serving more places first. When we looked at transit riders, 55% of transit riders wanted us to focus on serving more people first. So again, and we heard through the pop-up events we did that not everyone liked the trade-off, but they understood that we have limited money and there's going to be that trade-off. And so we hope we have crafted an investment strategy that tries to run that balance of as close as possible, serving both more people and more places at the same time. So for the 10-year investment strategy, first we looked at what our projected revenues are going to be. So we're expecting approximately $3.3 billion in revenue over the next 10 years for the transit plan. Most of that comes from the sales tax, long-term bond proceeds or debt funding, and federal funds, with about 10% remaining, equaling around $330 million. We do have and wanted to recognize we have potential challenges with 2 revenue funding sources. One is vehicle rental tax revenue. There's currently discussion among the lead agencies on the vehicle rental tax revenue. We have our regional transit agency, Go Triangle. That revenue was originally created for them by the statutes before the Wake Transit Plan was created. When the Wake Transit Plan was created, they were required to give a portion of that revenue to the transit plans. They are now requesting that they be able to keep all that revenue, so the lead agencies are working through that question now. We include the revenue in the 10-year plan, but we understand that that may change. And then we also have fare box revenue. Currently, we do not have fare box revenue going into the plan. We are going to be meeting at our technical staff level later this summer to discuss that. We have 2 of our 3 providers have begun charging fares again. And so now that we have fare revenue coming back into Wake County, we need to talk about how we will get that back into the plan. But until we know for certain how that will go, we understand that there's some squishiness around that revenue as well. So moving forward, we have approximately $1.8 billion committed for projects of the revenue coming in. So we anticipate we'll have about $1.5 billion available for new investments. So as we began developing the investment strategy, we looked at the transit priorities that were told to us by the public, by the stakeholders, through all the staff working groups, and we use those priorities to select projects, programs, and services. We also then worked on estimating the cost and confirming those revenues to develop the draft strategy that you see today. As we finalize this draft strategy and turn it into the 10-year Wake Transit Plan, we will have outcomes and expected results, some goals and objectives really that we expect to see coming out of all this investment. Again, we're balancing our investment with our expenses right now, so we're expecting, we have identified about $3.3 billion worth of investments using the entire $3.3 billion of revenue. So as we built out the priorities, what we heard from the community and stakeholder is that they wanted regional connections, they wanted comfortable bus stops, they wanted crosswalks, sidewalks, they wanted frequent bus service, and they wanted night and weekend service. And so using those priorities and the 4 big moves, we created really the 3 big buckets. So investing in the regional network, investing in building investing in the BRT core network, building out the new BRT network between Raleigh and Durham, strengthening connections to Raleigh and Cary, strengthening regional connections, investing in the regional rail network, serving more people by increasing our frequent bus routes, increasing service levels, increasing service hours, and serving more places by investing in regional transit infrastructure, investing in the community funding area program, and building community transportation facilities throughout the county. So these next 4 maps are the 4 big move maps. This one is our Connect the Region map. This map is very similar to what has been in the plan since the beginning. It is what we call our DNA map. The big change here is that the commuter rail itself was removed, but we show the various rail services that we may invest in, and we also show the new bus rapid transit line that would run between Raleigh and the Triangle Mobility Hub in RTP and hopefully onto Durham. This next map is our Connect All Communities map, showing how we plan to build out the regional network, providing new regional service between Rollsville and Wake Forest, as well as providing new regional service between Fuquay-Varina, Holly Springs, Apex, and up to RTP, and increasing frequency and service coming out towards Wendell and Zebulon and Knightdale. And then we have our frequent and reliable urban mobility. The dark red lines on this map is the bus rapid transit corridors. You can see our original 4 corridors. We are splitting the north corridor, which originally just ran a short ways up Capitol Boulevard to around Peace Street. We're splitting that out into 2 endpoints, one going towards Midtown or the North Hills area for those that have been around the area for a long time, and the second one continuing up Capitol Boulevard towards Triangle Town Center. We also show our 2 extensions here going out towards RTP and going down towards Clayton, as well as the new I-40 bus rapid transit. We also showed the frequent network. The dark lines, dark solid lines are the existing frequent network or frequent network that's already planned. And then the dotted black lines are the additional frequent network that we're going to be looking to invest in. We do not anticipate we'll be able to make all of those dotted black lines a frequent network, but a lot of them will be made frequent. And when I say frequent network, we do define that as 15-minute service majority of the day with service 7 days a week. On the weekends, that service may drop to 30 minutes, but for the most part, you're looking at 15 to 30-minute service almost all day, every day. And then we have our enhanced access to transit map, which just shows our community funding area program eligible areas, as well as under this big move is where we talk about investing in infrastructure as well. So going a little bit deeper into the 4 big moves, investing in our regional network, again, we're looking to set aside funding for what we call our rail-ready projects. We're looking to set aside roughly $250 million over the next 10 years to provide funding towards investments in regional rail that could be stations, track improvements, or increased rail service. We hope to be able to use the regional rail implementation study that's currently underway by the 2 MPOs. That is supposed to be completed in June, so we're hoping to be able to use some of those findings to help guide our investments there. We also will continue to implement and expand our BRT network. As I mentioned, we have the core network with the 2 endpoints on the northern network, on the northern line. We have our BRT extensions. We have the development of the BRT along I-40, and then we are also funding what we're calling our next-gen BRT network, where we're setting aside money to fund study of 5 to 6 future BRT corridors for the next round of the Wake Transit Plan. Next, under serving more people, we're looking to expand our frequent bus service, adding roughly one new frequent route every year, with a total of about 13 frequent routes added over the course of the 10 years, setting aside funding for unanticipated projects, adding new expansion and continuing to fund replacement buses, funding bus stops and sidewalks and crosswalks, funding connection points for frequent routes, and setting aside funding for a future maintenance facility study that may be needed based on the amount of frequent service we're adding. For serving more places, we're looking to increase hours and days of existing regional bus routes, adding 6 new regional routes, adding a new town-to-town route from Rollsville to Wake Forest, and adding a new commuter route to serve the Amazon facility in Garner. We're also looking to invest in community transportation hubs or facilities. We're looking at investing up to 5 of those throughout the county, which would primarily be in the outlying municipalities. We do not know where those will be at, but we're setting aside funding for 6 of those or for 5 of those, and we'll determine where those will be through some additional work that we'll take on. We're also increasing funding to the Community Funding Area Program, which is funding the Northeast Wake Smart Ride service that serves Wendell here. The slide says $40 million. We're actually upping that to $60 million, which is roughly tripling the amount of funding in the program that's currently identified. And we're also setting aside funding for a future airport interchange facility that can be used by the I-40 BRT service and other services to provide direct service to the airport. So as you can see on this map, the dark blue is a program frequent route investment. The pink is new fixed route, frequent route investment, and then the orange is BRT operations. So by the end of 2035, we will be funding over $120 million a year of bus service throughout the county. And so finally, the next steps, we have, as you can see on the screen, we've had about 17 pop-ups and presentations throughout the county. You are one of the last. And our public engagement period ends at the end of this week. So you have about a week, you have about 5 days left to provide input. We have a website, publicinput.com/Wake Transit 2035, where you can provide some input. Those documents in front of you, that is our executive summary that is out. That is on the website. The website's also on that document. And we've been pushing out and providing social media advertisements to all of our partners to push out with that website to push our citizens around Wake County to provide comments. And so we will be working through June to finalize our 10-year plan, and we will have our draft plan completed by the end of June. And then we will spend this summer working with our technical partners on any potential revisions. And then early this fall, we'll come back out for engagement on the full draft plan with the hopes of having it adopted by the Campo Executive Board and the Go Triangle Board of Trustees later this fall. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions from the board?
I have one, Madam Mayor.
Yeah.
On your way here to the meeting, you may have crossed a rail line, yes?
Probably.
Probably. I'm not sure I've seen a train on it in recent years, but, so here's my question. What can you tell me about it? And I didn't see, when I see Connect the Region, I don't see Wendell on that first map. So I guess my question is, what plans do you have for Wendell, and what plans do you think are currently being used for the rail line that we have that sort of bisects the middle of our town? If I could wave my magic wand and you could put a stop there, we can go to Lenovo Center, I bet we could fill up a couple train cars for you.
Yeah. So that rail line, I'm not sure what rail line that is. I would hazard a guess it may be, it's probably a CSX line or something, and I'm not sure if it's still used or not. As far as Wendell goes, so our Connect the Region big move is really focused on connecting Wake County to other areas. And so it's really in that Connect All Communities big move is where we focus on making sure Wendell, Knightdale, Zebulon, Rollsville, Wake Forest, Holly Springs, Fuquay are connected to each other and throughout Wake County and have those connections to those larger regional services. So Wendell is not really, you're correct, Wendell is not on the Connect the Region big move because that one is really focused on that center of the region connection from Raleigh to RTP and then out to Durham and then down even to Clayton, whereas the Connect to All Communities is really focused on making sure all of our communities in Wake County are connected to each other and to those bigger regional services.
Any other questions from the board? All right, thank you.
All right,
Look forward to
thank you.
seeing the end result. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, item 4C is the April 2025 financial snapshot report.
Financial report was provided in your packet. If
Okay.
the board has any questions, the finance director and
Right.
myself are here.
All right. All right, item 4D, introduction of purchasing and contracts manager. When we hear from our finance director.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Commissioners. We're not really in the accustomed to doing these new employee introductions here lately, but I thought it was particularly important to come to y'all today to introduce our new purchasing and contracts manager, Audrey Foster. This particular position is indicative of all the growth we have in town, and thanks to y'all's support, we've kind of decided there's a need to have someone specialized in this space to be able to ensure we're meeting all statute requirements and just keep the ship moving with our contracting and procurement. So again, the town of Wendell funded this new purchasing and contracts manager position as part of this fiscal year 2025 budget. The purchasing contract manager will serve as the point of contact for updating and maintaining procurement policies and procedures, training staff on these new procedures and best practices, developing templates for solicitation, developing and reviewing contracts for construction services, et cetera, of course, with the consultation of legal counsel. Audrey Foster began employment with the town to serve in this role on April 28th, so just shy of a month. Haven't scared her off just yet. Audrey joins Wendell with extensive experience in purchasing and contract management in both local government and nonprofit sectors. Prior to being in Wendell, she served as a procurement consultant with the town of Cary, which was under their finance and procurement division, and held positions as contract specialist for the city of Wilmington and the Cape Fear Public Utility Authority. Audrey is a certified local government purchasing officer, which is a great designation awarded by the NCAGP, North Carolina Association of Governmental Purchasing, which reflects her commitment to excellence and professionalism in public procurement. Originally from Northern Virginia, DC area, Audrey is a lifelong Washington Commanders fan, or Redskins for the historians. She enjoys spending time with her 3 children and visiting family in Wilmington and Virginia. And finally, before I turn it over to Audrey, she did share her favorite quote from the great Jim Carrey. So many of us choose our path out of fear disguised as practicality. What we really want seems impossibly out of reach and ridiculous to expect, so we never dare to ask the universe for it. I'm saying I'm the proof that you can ask the universe for it. So again, happy to have Audrey on the team, and I'll turn it over to her for a few words.
Thank you, Garrett. I'm not sure that the universe had it in store for me to be a procurement manager, but here I am, and I'm really happy to be here with Wendell. And your commitment to the fiduciary spend is to be applauded, and you see the value in procurement, and I'm happy to be part of that.
Welcome. We've been needing you a long time. So we're happy to have you here.
Yes, I look forward to.
I think everybody's worn your hat a little bit.
Yes.
All of them. And I
I'm
know they're glad
sure.
to give it up.
Yeah, I'm happy to be at the helm now. So.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Okay.
Welcome.
Thank you again.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Since we're introducing new people, why don't we drag Matthew Pennington up? Mark, you want to tell us about our new intern?
Yeah, it's my pleasure to introduce Matthew Pennington. He's finishing up his first year Master of Public Administration program at Appalachian State University. Staying here locally in Raleigh this summer, and it's our first chance to scare him away from local government management and what we do. And in all seriousness, he's helping us with the safety policy program in our risk management area this summer. He's going to spend time each week with different departments and programs and learn some of the basic technical skills from our staff who do their job so well. He said he did a ride-along with the police department this morning and enjoyed that. So we look forward to having Matthew and his expertise on our staff this summer.
Yeah.
Matthew, if you'd like to say
Thank
anything.
you, Mr. Collin, and thank you for the opportunity. It's nice to meet you all. I hope to get to meet each of you individually and work together, and hopefully I can, throughout this summer, create a great experience for myself and for everybody here, and also render some actual results through a safety update plan. And yeah, I'm excited. I appreciate the opportunity.
I had the pleasure of meeting him at my last agenda meeting. He's vigilant, note-taking and working hard. So,
3, I believe.
Mayor, did you let him know that traditionally they do a 30-minute monologue on safety?
no, we didn't even have him on the agenda. I
I'll
was
get
already
there- I'll
scared
get
him to
there- I'll get there
death.
one point. I'll get there one day.
But we look forward to hearing what you
Yes, thank you for the
prepare for
opportunity.
us. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Commissioner, he'll give you his 30-minute monologue at the end of his internship.
Thanks.
All right, we have no public hearings tonight, so we'll move into our administrative items. And the first is item 6A, the Kelly Conley Community Garden donation from the Ho and Hope Garden Club. Tim Kay?
Madam Mayor, members of the board, thank you guys for allowing us to come today, bearing good news, I hope. We have lots of members of the Ho and Hope Garden Club with us here today. Wonderful people, wonderful organization, along with some of our community garden members, our leaders of Benny Collins, Shelley Ryan, and Warren Boyette. They're here tonight to support this. The Ho and Hope Garden Club recently hosted a bingo night fundraiser to raise needed funds for the Kelly Conley Community Garden at Wendell Park. They had an amazing turnout. With the help of their members and local Wendell businesses, they raised $3,646. The Ho and Hope Garden Club would like to donate the entirety of the proceeds to the Kelly Conley Community Garden. This money would cover the cost of a yard hydrant installation, tillers, trellis, plant needs, wheelbarrow, weed barriers, and various other supplies that are needed to keep that garden growing and special for the people that are a part of that garden club and part of our community. So we hope that you will allow us to have that.
All right, any questions from the board? Do we have a motion to accept the donation from the Ho and Hope Garden Club?
Move we accept the donation.
All right, we have a motion to accept the donation from the Ho and Hope Garden Club. Is there any discussion on the motion?
I'd just say, Tim, you had a really hard gig tonight to stand up and convince. I think most of us are really connected to this club or this garden in some way. So I'm sorry that you drew the short straw in trying to twist our arms and convince us to do this, but you were convincing.
Thank you so much. Thank you, guys.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, thank you all for thinking of our community garden. It really is very special. Thank you. We really appreciate it. And did you say you want to take a picture?
Absolutely.
Do we want a
If
picture?
If we could do that, that would be fantastic. Yes.
Yeah, I will. I need the gentleman in charge. Come on. I know. I was president one time. A long time ago.
See how we're doing this. Professional photographer Roger, let's go. Tim, come on this side. Need some of you on that side there. Tim, jump over it.
He's trying to.
Try not to get too big. All right, everybody ready? Okay, smile. Got it.
Hi.
She was jealous of her sister.
There's still commissioner comments due, so hold on.
Yeah, we could. All right, item 6B is the Downtown Improvement Grant for 8 North Main Street, the Bello Butcher Company. Mr. Coates?
Yep, good evening, Mayor and board members. Excited to be before you tonight for this downtown improvement grant. It's been a priority of the community for quite a few years now to increase our food and restaurant options in the downtown. And also, we revamped this grant a few times over the last 5 or 6 years to kind of assist with our needs in the community. So this is I would say, our first larger grant request in the downtown core. We've had a variety for window replacements and paint over the years and murals, but this is for some infrastructure, I would call it, in the building. As mentioned earlier, Chris and Lauren, the applicants, are here tonight. Chris is here on behalf of Bello Butcher Company. They've submitted a downtown improvement grant for 8 North Main Street. The work proposed in the application is the addition of customer bathroom for the butcher shop / deli, ADA compliant access to the bathroom. Other work includes grease trap, plumbing for dish, hand, and prep sinks. Facade improvements include repairing and painting the facade and updating the exterior lighting. The work is a Tier 4 grant with a maximum grant amount of $50,000 or 50% of the total cost. The attached quote for the work is a little over $51,000. The grant request is for $25,500. It is key to note the Downtown Development Committee meeting was scheduled for May 14th. Quorum was not met, therefore the committee was not able to make an official recommendation. Those members in attendance did speak on favor, but no formal vote was taken. I'm going to go over some of the grant requirements here just as a reminder. Areas in that DMX zoning or that larger yellow area around downtown are eligible for this grant. It can be used for repair, replacement of facade materials, replacement of windows, doors, and other things related to the exterior, awnings, architectural features, improvements on the second or third floors of buildings, improvements related to commercial kitchens and restaurants, and then exterior lighting and murals as well. In this case, the applicant is doing some exterior painting and lighting, which will be nice, adding some ADA compliant bathroom, grease trap, plumbing for dish, hand, and prep sinks. That space is pretty vacant and does not have a bathroom currently in that designated space. The grant itself is our downtown improvement grant. It is the applicant's space. We have not awarded any grants to that location, and the building is more than 10 years old. The applicant does have a building permit under review currently for the work that's being proposed and mentioned in the grant that's going through plan review with Wake County right now, and includes all of the stuff mentioned in the application. The work has not begun yet, but it does contain capital improvements. The infrastructure stays with the building, which is one of our requirements, is that this should go towards things that will be maintained in the building. So the bathroom, no matter what the future looks like for that space, the bathroom, creating a bathroom for that individual space is key. Also, the infrastructure, like a grease trap and sinks for the restaurant use. Our requirements for funding, this is a tier 4, which I'll go over some points for you. It is our highest allowed project. They are requesting $25,500. Funds do exist in the fiscal 25 year budget and in the proposed fiscal 26 budget for this project and an additional project. Scoring, they are over the points needed. They are creating what we would consider a restaurant space, a butcher shop / deli. It will include grease trap, prep sinks, dishwashing sinks, a bathroom. Also, they are doing some exterior work, so they're awarded points for some of the paint and the lighting on the outside of the building. So they're over the requirements to become a tier 4 project. As I mentioned earlier, the applicant does have a building permit in review for the work identified in the grant application. Tier 4 grants have 12 months to complete the grant work, or they can ask for a 6-month extension that staff can grant as long as they're making progress. As I mentioned earlier, fiscal 25 budget does have $100,000 appropriated for the DIG program, and fiscal 26 budget has $50,000 appropriated. If awarded, funds will be drawn from the respective fiscal year based on the timing and the charges associated with the work. Staff is recommending approval of the grant request, and the applicant is here, and I'll ask him to come to the podium to share more details about the project. And I can field any questions you have at this moment.
Okay, any questions at this point from the board?
I have one quick question. What did we appropriate last, out of the $100,000 of fiscal 25, I know we're at the end of the 2025, how much of that have we drawn down for other projects?
I think less than 10,000.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank
we have plenty of funds. Yep.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Brian, and thank you, Roger, for the kind words and support. Yeah, so, I mean, my wife and I have lived here for just over a year now, and, you know, this is something that we've really been thinking about and working on for a long time, and we kind of just got up the gumption to pull the trigger on it. And, you know, we would love y'all's help on it. Yeah, we got 2 young girls. I know it sounds crazy, but opening our own business actually makes it so I work less, which is, I know that sounds insane, but being a chef and you know, working in this industry for a long time, I put in 60, 65-hour weeks, and really this is to create a better structure for our family and to kind of provide our girls with something for the future. This is something we're passionate about. This is where we met in a concept much like this in Wilmington, North Carolina. So yeah, it's kind of like a full circle moment for us here. So if you guys have any questions about it, I'd love to answer them.
Okay, anything from the board?
It's exciting. I don't have any questions other
Cool.
than the question everybody has is how soon, and how about that awning out front? That's what I keep hearing too.
The awning's on the top of the list, trust me. And if you guys can help with the permitting, I mean, we can get construction started this week. So that's all I'm saying.
I think I may have just tipped my vote there a little bit, but looking forward to it.
Thank you.
All right, do you have a motion?
Move we approve the grant.
All right, we have a motion to approve the downtown improvement grants. Any discussion on the motion?
Just say thanks for investing in our town, your money, your family, your time, everything else, and letting us be
Absolutely.
part of it. I know getting into business with the government kind of can come with some question marks sometimes, so hope we make this worth your while as well. And
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
it's a great tool for us to be able to invest in our downtown, so thanks for letting us be part of it.
Yeah, thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you guys so much.
Can't wait to see it. All right, item 6C is the fiscal year 2025-2026 Town of Wendell budget, budget ordinance, fee schedule, and pay plan. Mr. Collins.
I didn't scare him off, did I?
I don't know. Go ahead.
Should I wait or
Nope, let's go.
let's go? Okay. Good evening. Tonight, the board is being asked to take 6 actions for the fiscal year 2026 Wendell budget. That includes the actual budget document, that's your policy document, the budget ordinance, that's the statutory ordinance required to adopt a budget. There's a few new items this year that we've gone over in the past. General fund capital project ordinance, a utility capital project ordinance, the fee schedule we have each year, and the fiscal year 2026 pay plan. In any motion considered tonight, we did find a Scribner's error in the fee schedule on page 8 under Administration Other. Trade permit processing fee, it's shown as $95. That's actually the combination of the town and Wake County's cost. The actual town fee is $30. So I just want the record to show that any motion on the fee schedule recognizes that Scribner error, just from copying over one number from another. It's not actually 95, it's 30. With that, state law requires me as your town manager and your budget officer to submit a budget by a certain time period. That was done this year. The board has held their budget hearing in between that time and the time of adoption. Sufficient time has passed between the submission of the budget to you by me and this consideration tonight to legally adopt the budget. So it's in compliance with the Local Government Budget and Fiscal Control Act, as well as the financial policies of the town of Wendell. Our total budget this year, and you know there's total and then net budget, which is new also this year, but the total budget's $58,557,193. That's just actually $29,300 different than what I presented a couple weeks ago, and I'll go over what that means. There's no change to the property tax rate in the town of Wendell. It stays at 42 cents per $100 valuation. No proposed increase in the budget to any major fee expense. The couple minor changes, we had reported out in the past that the elected official compensation was included in the comp and class, and we got those final numbers and updated those to reflect the 50% of market in comparative to the other jurisdictions, just like we do staff, part-time and full-time with in the comp and class study. So that did represent an additional $19,000 increase in compensation, as well as the FICA increase of $1,400. We also received a final estimate for our ClearGov budgeting software, which was $8,900. So we went ahead and made that quick adjustment. We decreased the amount and transfer to debt service by like amount. And so everything left in debt service still is more than sufficient, exceeds the amount needed to make our debt service payments in FY26. We had started to put additional revenue there for future payment. And so that was easily covered the $29,300. We then had to make an adjustment in the debt service fund to decrease the transfer in, as well as decrease the future debt service reserve future payment amount by like amount. So that results in that $29,300 difference between what was presented 2 weeks ago and what's presented tonight. And there's no other changes to the budget from 2 weeks ago. So that means our general fund is at $24,561,474. We have a capital fund of 31 million, debt service fund of approximately 1.9, stormwater fund of approximately 950,000, capital utility fund in 2026 of 100,000. Nothing in water and sewer fund. Those are historic funds where the past debt service is paid off after the Raleigh merger of the system. And when you take out the transfers, it leaves us a net recommended budget of all funds of $54,576,062. All right, a lot of words on a screen behind you there. I'm going to summarize real quick. And for the public's edifice, the board has started talking with staff about their policies and what they wanted to see on this year's budget last fall, starting on their strategic plan, working through budget retreat in January, February time period, hearing back from departments and baseline budgeting, providing a lot of individual and group input through the spring, budget workshop in April, the budget hearing last week. So this is, for the board, the culmination of well over 6 months of effort, recognizing coming to a decision point tonight. The budget ordinance I went over briefly, what was there. The general fund project ordinance provides capital projects that meet certain criteria for inclusion, such as their multi-year projects. These projects can be funded over multiple budget years, which is an advantage. It provides transparency for funding those multi-year projects. They're projects that can be over 500,000, multi-year and/or are debt funded. Not all capital projects in the 5-year capital improvement plan meet those criteria, so this isn't all. The list of those projects are provided there. UDO being a multi-year, downtown streetscape, multi-year, public works yard, debt funded, also over 500. Wendell Falls Parkway, Eagle Rock Road is a bond project. Those are examples of projects that would be in there. Utility capital project ordinance, same thing except for the stormwater fund, a utility fund. There's one project in there that's actually $500,000 total, but $100,000 of it is in FY26, and that's the North Side Dam to help repair both design and construction of that project. Our fee schedule is another item for consideration. There's only 2 minor changes in the fee schedule this year. The one beyond the Scribner error that I mentioned earlier that needs to be corrected. Increase in Parks and Recreation fee for field dry mix. That's the actual cost of a bag of mix that's put on a field to help dry it when it's wet before a tournament. The other is a total of several different little fees that total $60 in development fee. That actually reflects costs and market comparison for those fees. We try and reduce as much ad valorem tax exposure to those development fee costs to our taxpayer as possible. So that's a minor adjustment this year for that. Our pay plan still has the same 7 positions as reported 2 weeks ago, 3 reclassifications. It implements the compar ratio model in the pay and class study prepared by Evergreen that was presented out to the board a month and a half ago. The new pay grades and pay ranges reflecting the findings of that study were in the budget. You also probably saw the attachment of that within the budget itself. Our benefits were reviewed. It confirmed that they're above average for our market. So our pay is average, our benefits are above average, and our culture wins in Wendell. No compression issues were identified in our study, which is good. So there's no adjustments in range or other needs. The implementation of the pay and class study is sufficient. Our benefits, we maintain that positive benefit program. covers the premium increase costs within the amount that we had budgeted, so that there's no costs that we're passing on to staff with premium increases, which means that implementing the pay and class plan is true. There's nothing eroding at that this year for them in their pay. There were a couple minor plan additions based on feedback from staff over time, which included adult orthodontics and mouth gear, as well as annual vision lens replacement instead of every other year, and a minor adjustment in the top end of life insurance. Nothing changed from prior presentation on that. And with that, I am glad to take any comments, help the board in any way in your decision or questions to get there.
All right, thank you. Any questions or comments from the board?
I just would like to reiterate, Commissioner Joyner couldn't be here tonight. He reached out to us individually, and he sent the best messenger possible. I feel like he didn't trust us to convey that he supported this, so he sent Emerson Kate instead. But
I'm going to put her on retainer just to where, I mean, hopefully I'm here forever in my career, but wherever I go, I'm just going to have her show up at the podium and give that little spiel.
It's a good reader.
She,
did a great job, but he reached out to us individually and was in support as well. So,
Anyone?
Yeah, I'll just say, I know, Mark, you've said it, it always feels a little bit underwhelming after all the work that goes into this, just to hear you read it and then all of us say, yeah, it's fine. Like, I always want to emphasize how much time and deep engagement, not just listening to you talk and saying, yeah, that sounds good, but really active engagement, I think, from every member of the board, and not only you, but everybody on your leadership team for the town. So I just really appreciate all of y'all's time, especially to get us to this point, everybody else's collaboration to get us here as well. And I don't think there's a more important thing that we do as a board ever than decide what to do with the money that every person who owns property in this town and lives in this town is asked to chip in to be able to make the town work. So I don't really have any questions. I think I've exhausted you with them all for the last several months, so I'll save you from any additional ones today.
they're really good questions.
They
though.
are good questions, always. I want to comment as well. People have no idea the amount of work and effort that goes into the budget every year. And we always started off, and our manager's always kind of excited because he loves the budget, and then he kind of gets beat down by it, and then he's back up again. And we're back up again because it's all been figured out, hopefully. And the amount of effort and engagement and work is tremendous. It's probably the biggest thing that you do every year, without a doubt. And there's nothing even in second place of that. So we appreciate it. It's very exciting to me to be on this board. And everybody has lots of ideas, and I'm the worst one for coming to you wanting ideas and things. But it is exciting to see ideas that we have and things that we would like to do for the citizens, and then figure out how to pay for them, and then get to watch them come to fruition. It's very exciting, and this is the most important step in that, is you've got to pay for it before you can have it, or be able to pay for it. So it's very exciting to me, and just the list of capital improvement projects is very exciting to me, to look at that and see all the great things that are coming for the citizens. So, anyone else?
yeah, just a lot of great things. I mean, it's kind of Captain Obvious there, but the fact that, like Dean said, we show up and it's like we hear about it and thumbs up, okay. There's so much that happens long before we get here. So thank you for that, and thank you to other members of the board for their investment time as well. But lots of cool things happening in town, and we're turning a lot of dirt and cutting a lot of ribbons, and the budget, is really the piece that makes that happen. So thank you.
Right.
Got one comment too. And I think it's kind of ironic that you'll hear all the commissioners and the mayor say roughly the same thing, because this is sort of Team Wendell, and we approach it maybe perhaps a little bit differently. but I agree with what I said. I'm going to just pull out one example that I picked as a favorite. There's 441 pages. So if you're a member of the public and you're watching this on Facebook tonight, next week, next month, whatever, stop in the lobby. And don't let this scare you. It is very instructive. Honestly, it's the first time I've gone through 441 pages of anything in recent memory, since maybe high school. But with that said, the Main Street Greenway, this year, 3,200 feet of 12-foot paved trail, walk, bike, golf cart, what have you, is the first segment of a 3.3-mile trail that'll connect downtown to the park, Wendell Falls, to the Buffalo Creek Greenway. So essentially, and connectivity is one of our, I think, universally, one of our big themes that you'll say. It's in the strategic plan. We all talk about it. But this is actually putting it to paper and actually seeing, to Joe's point, seeing it actually happen. I think you'll see this coming year, things happen that we've talked about for years, or they have, and we have now. But I think this one page of 441 will show you what you're going to see coming to the town of Wendell. So take a minute, look at this. I see some citizens in the crowd now that I know they're going to be more active. Take a moment, go through this budget, look at these pages, and you'll see where we're going to be in the next 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, so on and so forth. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Sure. Anyone else? All right, before we start making motions, you know, our budget time, they're very specific, and there's 6 of them this year, and we are without our Mayor Pro Tem.
I'm ready to pinch.
You know, any of y'all can
Pulled
make
up in front of
motions.
me.
I don't know how it's wound up the way it has, but any of y'all can do that.
Mayor, you could make them as a collective motion.
Can they? Okay, all right. So whoever is going to do it, I would still not say number 1, or just read them separately. Or however is most comfortable to you, and we can vote on one.
Can we ask Deans to do it without looking at his notes?
You can
Well, no,
ask, I'm not going to do it.
It's a lot, we need to make, this is important.
Mary Beth, I'm just going to go down the list from the agenda item. So I'm going to move that we adopt the fiscal year 2026 Town of Wendell budget document, the fiscal year 2026 budget ordinance, approve the general fund capital project ordinance, approve the utility capital project ordinance, approve the fiscal year 2026 fee schedule with an acknowledgement of the scrivener's error that the manager mentioned earlier being corrected to revise a certain fee from $95 to $30. And finally, that we approve the fiscal year 2026 pay plan.
All right, we have a motion to adopt the fiscal year 2026 Town of Wendell budget document, to approve the fiscal year 2026 budget ordinance, to approve the general fund capital project ordinance, to approve the utility capital project ordinance, to approve the fiscal year 2026 fee schedule with correction that was stated, and to approve the fiscal year 2026 pay plan. Is there any discussion on the motion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Is anyone opposed? All right.
Thank you, Board. It's an honor to listen to y'all for all this time. It's really enriching just to hear the passion that y'all have for this community and how that comes out in that budget policy document. So thank you for your time. And I would be remiss, of course, not to recognize Garrett Johnson, the finance director, who quietly does a lot of lifting. Stephanie Smith, the assistant town manager, is not here. Sherry, our senior accountant, who is another backbone of that team. And then all the department heads and department staff that gather the data and the background information to make informed decisions on this, that populate all those pages. I mean, it is a tremendous team lift from staff to policy with the board. And it's just an honor as your manager to help facilitate that process for you. So thank you.
And it takes months, all while doing all of the normal things that you do as well.
Absolutely.
So.
But it is my favorite season of the year.
It is, and I don't know, what are you going to do now till like next September or something?
Getting started on the fiscal year 2027 budget.
I don't know, take a little
It's,
rest and then
still
get
hockey
ready to
season.
start up again.
Yeah, it's still hockey
Still
season.
hockey season.
Yeah, I'm grateful for that. And it just starts a new budget season.
It does start a new budget season, it does. All right, item 6D is the award of on-call engineering services for development review and stormwater services.
First fruit of having a purchasing and contract manager on staff is getting this really rolling. As the board will recall, it's time to renew our engineering, on-call engineering services. Rather than just picking one or two firms, as prior reported, we broke that out into 6 different scopes of work: development review, stormwater, streets and sidewalks, floodplain management, facilities design and construction management, and parks and greenways. Tonight, we're asking you to consider qualifying 2 of those buckets, if you will, those scopes of services: development review and stormwater. They have more pressing needs as we get into the next fiscal year with the ERU study and stormwater, and then development review obviously is just an ongoing thing. We did not restrict which firms apply for which scope of work. They could self-identify one or all 6 or any combination therein and try and prove their qualifications. There was a scoring matrix and weighting that came from the RFQ and was reviewed and developed by our purchasing and contract manager. So it's the score sheet that was in the attachment for you reflected that. Just because someone isn't recommended for qualification tonight does not reflect poorly on any company or their overall qualifications. There's just a reality that we're still a small organization and there's only so much work, and we only need so many firms that could potentially work on projects. And so we limited, in some ways, just the number of people to bring back to you. We could always, if something doesn't work out, come back and requalify with this process or restart a new process to qualify. There still may be larger projects that we need to do outside of just an on-call basis, but this will give us a depth of firms to be able to pull in on different projects for different expertise that are already pre-qualified to work with the town. So, for development review services, 13 of 22 firms that responded identified development review services as sought to be qualified in that. Of those, the top 4 were recommending to be approved by the board: AMT, Kimley Horn, McAdams, LJB. Those were the top 4. Sometimes we have firms that may have a conflict because they work for the development or private interest within the jurisdiction. And so being able to switch out, some have different strengths. It allows us to also look at particular developers and particular engineering firms and make sure that we have best fit for customer service. For stormwater services, 18 of the 22 identified as wanting to be pre-qualified there. The top 5 companies, again, a lot more than 5 were qualified to do work, but the top 5 that will actually likely have some level of work for over a 3 to 5 year period: McAdams, Timmons, Withers Ravenel, Geosyntec, and AMT. After tonight, if that list is qualified, those lists are qualified, staff will negotiate a master service agreement. Audrey, our purchasing contract manager, has already started the process of putting that together for each of these firms. Specific work assignments will be done through task orders, much like y'all seen with Withers or Geosyntec before. So specific work orders will go through a task order as needed. Pre-qualification does not guarantee any amount of work for the firms or any work. It just means that we're deeming them qualified. If we can't reach an agreement with a selected firm, we may proceed to the next best qualified firms on the list. The remaining scope of services will be returned to the board, so the other 4 at future meetings. We wanted to get those 2 moving quicker, so you'll likely see that at the next few meetings. Glad to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions from the board? Okay.
Mayor, I move that we accept the recommended score and qualifications of firms and authorize the town manager to negotiate and sign contracts for on-call engineering services for development review and stormwater.
All right, thank you. We have a motion to accept the recommended scoring and qualifications of firms and authorize the town manager to negotiate and sign contracts for on-call engineering services for development review and stormwater. Is there any discussion on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Thank
All
you.
right. Moving on into our other business, Wendell Volunteer Fire Department Board of Directors, we will hear from Commissioner Joyner next time. He was called away, and we didn't get a report from his little girl on that. And so Campo, Commissioner Eatman.
I'll talk with EK about making sure she's prepared to provide a full report next time she attends a meeting. Campo meeting last week, we heard a presentation similar to the one that you all heard tonight about the Wake Transit Work Plan. Excuse me, the 2026 Wake Transit Work Plan, the upcoming one. And sort of the big item on our agenda was related to the topic I mentioned at my last report, the US 1 North Capitol Boulevard tolling options. Board did vote to allow or recommend that tolling be considered as an option moving forward by DOT for making improvements to US 1 between Raleigh and Wake Forest. Later that afternoon, the House of Representatives also voted to ban that option. So none of that's done yet. That's sort of tied up in legislative budget ongoing discussions, but interesting sort of macro regional conversation for Wake County and the Triangle. I think no one seems to feel like improvements are not needed. It's more of a question of figuring out how to fund them, which I think is the reality for most every transportation project that exists. I think the Wendell version is that while we haven't talked about tolling any facilities here in Wendell, we have utilized town revenues, town funds that otherwise would be used on traditional town projects to support state highway infrastructure that was not going to get funded otherwise. So I think it's just a different version of a conversation that everybody in the state's having, is how to take care of the transportation needs that certainly all exist. And I don't know that there's a silver bullet except just putting money to the Lord, prioritizing the money that we have to get things done.
Moving to our commissioners' comments, Commissioner Lutz,
No comments tonight, Mayor.
Commissioner Eatman,
Nothing else tonight.
Commissioner Honeycutt,
No, ma'am.
Commissioner Deloach.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I do want to thank Chris for being here tonight. Bella Butcher's, it's going to be cool addition. I think it's important that you show up, so I really appreciate you being here for that. Thank you for investing in our town. I think that sharing your future with our future is a really cool thing. Thank you to Roger for being here, and the fact that you have joined the chamber shows that you're invested in the business community as well. Not all businesses downtown can say that, so thank you for being a part of that as well. Welcome to Matthew and Audrey. We don't do that nearly enough for new folks, so I'd like to vote for that to be an ongoing thing, Mr. Manager. And I do appreciate the partnership tonight, Ho and Hope and the Kelly Conley Community Garden. So I know that we had Warren, Benny, and Shelley here from the community garden. I've spent a little time over there, not as much in recent years as I did originally, but cool partnership, a lot of money, and a lot of great folks, including wives and family members. So thank you. And then finally, obviously, I mentioned it before, go Canes. We're still alive, so we'll see how that goes. You've seen the banners throughout town. I actually have family members that ride through town and call me and say, "Are you responsible for those banners in town?" And I didn't realize that I was that big of a fan, that I might get some kind of credit for that, but I'll take it, because maybe we'll come back and make history. So, and I do want to mention, I joked about the awning. The fact that you're spending the money inside on the infrastructure part is really the biggest part of that. But people see the outside, they see the paint, they see the shiny things, but the interior and the investment is really cool. Looking forward to it. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Real quickly, I just wanted to give everybody a quick reminder that this Saturday is the Pro Town BMX Bike Stunt Show in downtown Wendell. The shows are at 11 and 2. You can bring your children. It's such a fun day. Afterwards, if you'd like, they have a little instruction period for kids, and they will provide bikes and protective gear, or you can bring your own. Honestly, the show's great, but the little kids riding over those little bumps afterwards is really great too. If you stick around for that, it's really cute. And I recommend that as well. So I hope that you will join us. And again, the shows are at 11 and 2, right down in front of where the new butcher shop will be, I believe. So do we have a motion to adjourn?
If we adjourn.
All right, we're adjourned.